What's up and welcome to Champions of Lore, a show about all the kick-ass stories behind some Idle Champions' coolest campaigns and characters. This week, B. Dave Walters is joined by Lauren Urban. I couldn't say your name. Lauren Urban.
I've broken the mold. You're so used to
mold.
having the amazing Erin Evans here, and now you're stuck with me.
you were like Erin, but not Erin. Does not compute.
Yes.
I mean, I could give Erin's opening. She's Erin M. Evans. She's the author of the Brimstone Angels saga, which includes Frida, Havilar, Mehen, three of your favorite characters that you can find in Idle Champions. I'm not her. Sorry.
But
And author of the upcoming book, Empire of Exiles.
Empire of Exiles, available for pre-sale. But you are a person that does things and has characters in Idle Champions.
That is, well, I have a single character. just the one. But hi, for those that don't know me, I'm the person who does a lot of stuff in front and behind the camera here at Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. I also write a lot of words, and occasionally I play D&D on Tuesdays and Fridays and on a podcast and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. And who are you, Mr. B. Dave Walters?
It is I, B. Dave Walters, reanimated husk, because I went super hard at Comic-Con and have not 100% recovered, to tell you the truth. Non-ironically, TV's B. Dave Walters, friend to all humankind. Follow me on the Tweetagrams at B. Dave Walters.
That is right. And yeah, this Champions Lore every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on twitch.tv/C&E Games, or later on your favorite podcast service. We talk about all the Idle Champions Lore that's fun to know about. And this week we're going to be talking about Sorcerers. Sorcerers. Because last week Valentine from Black Dice Society came to the game, and she is a sorcerer. So what better time to talk about that class than now? Friends, where do we want to start with Sorcerers?
Well, we could begin at the beginning, of course, but since we were talking about Valentine, who you should pull and add to your formation
100%.
right now, Valentine is an Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. Okay, so let me take a step back. So, Sorcerers are the mutants of Dungeons and Dragons.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
He's not.
You don't like books. You don't like gods. You don't like studying. You don't like trying to be a paladin. Be a sorcerer.
You're born being able to do things. My character free. I'm glad I got you on that one. By the way, Trevor.
No. The reason I'm laughing so hard right there is because the way Lauren said that, it sounded like the way that my Scoutmaster gave me my Eagle Award. He says he doesn't like hiking, he doesn't like camping, he doesn't like the outdoors. Why are we giving him this?
I got you on the spit take though. We have it on camera.
It's true.
Saved.
So, sorcerers are just born this way. You have a relative at some point in the past that was some non-human well, I can't say non-physical because you got a relative. They got physical at least once. Entity at some point in your history entered into your bloodline, and that is the source of your power. And there's all different kinds. And my character, well, I guess I'll get to what Freely is when we get to his kind of sorcerer. So when you're making your sorcerer, just like other classes have subtypes, you pick the kind of sorcerer you are. So Valentine is an Aberrant Mind, which usually means something from the far realms of a quasi-Cthulhu nature. What was a relative, but there's also a random table for the Aberrant Mind in particular, where you can have aberrant origins. Where you were exposed to the far realm's warping influence, or a psychic wind on the astral plane blew over you, or you once suffered the dominating powers of an aboleth, but it left a psychic splinter in your mind. So for these ones in particular, there's a lot of ways you could have been changed, but that is at least the basic. Although I will just say, in at least one of these origins, and I'm not going to tell you which one, the words "a strange mucus" are part of the description. So there's that.
I mean, if you're going to get into origins that tie into creepy places like Ravenloft, you're going to expect mucus and tentacles and creepiness. I mean, it just comes with the subclass.
I suppose.
It's a feature, not a bug, except when it is a bug that is in your brain.
Exactly. I mean, if that weirds you out, there's divine souls and other things that you could be. You want to be a dragon, you can be a dragon. You want to be a storm, you can be a storm. You want to kill everybody at level 2 with a fireball, you can be a wild magic sorcerer. It's fine. It's great. You can choose all sorts of things.
Up to and including yourself and your friends,
And the other thing that sorcerers can do, though, is manipulate their magic inherently with their sorcerer points. Which I don't think has like a flavorful in-world term besides just meta magic.
Yeah, meta magic is the thing. Just as an aside, for my min-maxers out there, there's something called a coffee lock, which is a warlock sorcerer, which has literally infinite spell slots. You get them all back on a short rest. You can Google it if you're interested and want to like make your DM cry.
Did you say coffee lock?
I did say coffee lock. That's what it's called.
That's what it's called. Yeah.
I'll take one grande coffee lock.
So, yeah, that's true. So you just play like a Goliath warlock sorcerer that is a venti coffee lock, you know.
And then see, I usually go Warforged because then you don't have to sleep, so that when your DM is just like, but you need a long rest every once in a while. It's like, but maybe not.
Like, do I? I'm a robot. Yeah. So the way the meta magic works. So again, one of the things that sets the classes apart, to what Lauren was saying earlier, is the source of your power. Wizards have been trained expressly to do this. Sorcerers haven't. So they have access to something called meta magic, which is funny that like the untrained people can do wilder things, but you have things, and I mean, there's ways for other people to get access to it, but sorcerers have it innately. Things like sculpt spell. Like you always have the joke of like, I didn't ask how big the room is. I said I cast fireball. You have the ability to like not blow up your friends. You know, you can shape it around them and things like that. You can twin your spell where you cast 2 instead of 1. You can have spells go off instantly. If you've watched any of our the World Builders charity games we did, all the times Brennan just hit like an absolute freight train with Mossbrow is because a paladin sorcerer is arguably the strongest character in the whole entire game, because they can smite and quicken spell, and they can like blast you and then disintegrate and all sorts of wildness, which I generally approve of.
Yeah. The thing you always have to be careful of if you're going to go in for one of those Nova type builds is that you can burn yourself out super fast. So if you do end up, it's super fun, especially if it is, you know, here's an epic battle and here I'm going to protect my friends and I'm going to take out something really, really fast. But you can suddenly be without everything incredibly fast. So
Yep.
So for those DMs out there who are worried about coffee locks and all of these things, there are ways to still challenge your party, even if you've got someone who can hit like the proverbial freight train. But that is my favorite part about sorcerers is that being able to sculpt spell, because it is, well, it's called careful spell, I think, in here. But yeah, being able to make things a little easier on your friends, and you know, so that way you can do the big area of effect stuff and not have to worry quite so much.
I was sad when I realized that it says that they just save instead of they're not hit, and I'm just like, oh well, I still got to hit you a little bit with this fireball, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah, but that's where you make sure your rogue and your monk are the people that you're hitting, and so they automatically succeed, and then they say, well, I'm just that fast.
It's fair.
I've had a number of fireballs dropped on me in my time. Taliesin expressly dropped in a game we played, the Fertel Dore Day, years ago at Geek and Sundry. I had a paladin that was like right in the middle of it, and he dropped he was gonna fireball, and he's like, "You're in the way." I'm like, "Nope, bring it, give it to me." You know what I mean? Let's go. I can take it. The monsters can't. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have been the person who's dropped a fireball on people.
Both the fireballer and the fireball-y. That is true.
Yeah, and I've had the character who, nope, can't do it, can't hurt my friends, and the character who's just like, you'll survive, Here we go.
The one time it's happened in one of my home games, it was like, no, don't worry, it's fine, I can take it. And then they rolled almost max dice, and they're like, I can't take it. And they got knocked out.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, you were talking about the Aberrant Mind, which is one of the origins, because as you're saying that the magic can come from different places and different things and whatnot. But there's a type of sorcerer that comes with these, and Aberrant Mind is actually the first one alphabetically, so that worked out really well.
Indeed, it did. Yeah, that's you should. I don't want to spoil it for you, but you should go and read the Aberrant Mind potential origins. You don't have to have any of these, but it gives you an idea of the things. And also, every time, but pending the subtype you pick, you get access to different spells and different abilities. So if you watch the Black Dice Society, the fact that Valentine can telepathically communicate with everyone is because of that. In the things that she can do. So very powerful sorcerer subtype with a lot of optional tentacles.
I forget that Valentine has calm emotions.
I think she forgets she has calm emotions.
I feel like if she could trade it for cause fear, she would. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, that's
100%. Yep, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those 7-level spells are gonna be fun.
Yeah, we're getting there. They're growing up quick.
They're getting so big. So after with the Aberrant Mind, we have one of the odder ones, but actually
my favorite.
We've gone over kind of one of the origins of this recently, which is the Clockwork Soul sorcerer.
All hail the Modrons.
All hail the Modron.
I mean, that's the easy way to dip into the Clockwork Soul. Is it's all about law and order and Modrons and Modrons and Modrons and Modrons. I have actually reflavored this a little bit. I played a Furbolg who was a Clockwork Soul. Who it basically became I'm a nature person who is all about the natural order of nature. And so it was kind of a nature-y, druid-y Clockwork Soul sorcerer. And so everything got reflavored to just be trees and things, which is really fun. But yeah, a lot of Clockwork Soul is helping make the balance happen. So, for example, the first thing you get to do is if a creature you can see within 60 feet of you is about to have advantage or disadvantage, you can just use your reaction and say, no, you don't. You don't have advantage or disadvantage, which is amazing for, when a rogue is attacking you and you don't want to get sneak attacked. For when a paladin is attacking you and you want to avoid the idea of a natural 20 smite, for a whole bunch of things. And you get to do it pretty often. And then what you got to be careful of is because it just says a creature, you don't be that player who does that to your other players. Don't be that person, because you don't give them advantage or disadvantage. You just take it away. So that would be my suggestion if you're going to go for this. Just keep that in mind. But it's super good. It's so powerful, and you get that just right away. And then a lot of it is being able to help shield your friends, being able to help yourself. Like the trance of order part of it is basically you enter this. They call it a trance-like state, but I always pictured it as like, I am now a grandfather clock and I'm just going to keep going and you can't stop me. And you can't get attacked with advantage. And then basically every D20 roll that you get is you treat it as a 10 or higher. So suddenly you're a rogue for a little while and everything you roll is great. And then, Clockwork Cavalcade is when you call the Modrons, call the army. So if you've been playing with Nordum...
Really?
Oh, yeah. If you play with Nordum in the game and the entire screen just fills up with the Modron March that he summons, that's essentially what this is. You summon spirits of order to expunge disorder around you. So
you summon ghost Modrons.
You summon... Yep, spirits look like Modrons or other constructs of your choice.
The Modrons.
Yep.
They're very orderly ghosts, though. Like, they go in your house and they don't, knock stuff over. They rearrange
Yeah,
it.
they just move your couch.
Yep.
Oh, hail the moon.
Exactly. They're like, this is the superior state of things.
The feng shui is better.
All the pictures are completely level on your walls. It's amazing. but then you can't find anything because you've put something in that place.
I would
it's
love
always
to be
here.
in that haunted house. that. You know what? Conjuring 4. Let's do it. It's just a bunch of nice ghosts.
Everything is just so perfect.
I do have to say, I genuinely hope that one of the persons that was working on this class walked into a meeting one morning and was just chuckling to themselves, and they were like, at first level they get alarm. Clockwork. I genuinely hope they did that, because as soon as I saw that, I had to hold in all of the laughter.
And you can lean into it. You could pick one of the races that are like one of the clockwork races. You can go with one of the mechanical races and super lean into it. Or like I said, you can pick something that seems to be exactly opposite and just take the flavor of order and law and a little bit of protection, because there's like that a swarm of Modrons also heals people. They just,
that's
nice. They all come by with little like flasks of healing potions, just like anybody. So yeah, if you're looking for a little bit of protection and healing in amongst your order, that's Clockwork is super fun. I had a lot of fun with mine.
This has made me want to make one now. I'd never thought about doing it before, but now I'm just like, I guess some Modrons at 18th level. Yeah, let's go. Let's do this.
Oh, hail the Modron.
I haven't figured out how to do it yet, but the Clockwork Soul made me, after playing it, made me want to do a Clockwork Soul Diviner build, so that not only could you take away advantage and disadvantage, but then you could also start giving people, like, oh, here's the actual roll you've got. And just super duper get into it, but it's not a very effective build.
If you were going to do that, you'd have to do it with a halfling with the lucky feet, because then you're the DM.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, let me tell you how this is about to go.
The problem becomes you only have one reaction, and now you have like 12 things you can do on your reaction. Like, well, what do I want to do now? But yeah, I've been trying to figure out how to make that work effectively, and the flavor of it is great. But
that is fantastic. So after that, we have the Divine Soul. What is up with the Divine Soul Sorcerer?
So you all know a Divine Soul Sorcerer, actually, who's had some presence here on this program
hey, Freely,
before.
It's good to see you again.
Hi. How you doing? Hi. Yeah, sorry. I'm just for the record, we made it out of that Black Pits thing. You don't have to go hurt Bayla today.
Okay, that's good, because if I was going to have to go resurrect everybody, I was going to be really upset.
Yeah, but I just want you to know that it's like if I got swallowed by the Trask, I was like, Orkira's got me out of worse, but it's like it's going to be no fun recovering my corpse, man. Woo! That's not a lot of fiber in the Trask.
I mean, your arm will survive, and that's all I need, really.
It's also I got a ring of regeneration, and I was like, hey, all right, Orkira's not gonna have to bring me back anymore. But then I was like, then my arm's gonna grow back, and that's weird. But then Havilar pointed out that I could reattach the mechanical arm under the other arm, and then I could have had 2 arms. So I feel like it was sort of a missed opportunity, but that's okay.
I mean, we can work on that, but that gets into tentacle areas, and I don't know if you want that.
Yes. Like, why wouldn't I? Second of all, I mean, if I got my arm back, it's been a while now, and I feel like it'd be all like spindly, and I wouldn't know. So then I have like my one like boss robot arm that's like, but then my other arm would just be all floppy, and then Penelope would make fun of me all the time.
So Freely, tell me about the Divine Sorcerer.
Sorry, we just took over this show for a little while. It just became Heroes of the Plains. Sorry.
Well, friend, I've got no clue. You all might recall my entire character concept for Freely is not only was he a thought experiment of a 4-class build where he's a bard, paladin, warlock, sorcerer, all of those things are untrained. He doesn't know why he can do what he do. He truly doesn't know.
He's the lucky boy.
He's the lucky boy. That's it. He's born lucky. And he hits things with his sword and light goes off and, and every once in a while he's like, fireball, and it works. He doesn't know. So a Divine Soul Sorcerer, same thing, is somebody you have a divine or celestial relative at some point in the past. Turns out Todd Kenrick made the worst of all dragons, Bahamut.
Or the best. Or the worst.
I mean, I personally, I think that's cool. And, Tiamat, they seem to have some disagreement.
You know what? I'll like your dad because he's your dad. This is one of those moments where Lauren and Orkira and B. Dave and Freely have completely opposite feelings on the subject.
And Trevor just enjoys all of it.
Yeah. Oh, I enjoy it too. It's fun.
I would be remiss if I did not remind the people.
Oh no,
Is
here
he
she
pulling out a
comes.
Cibriux or is he pulling out Tiamat?
No,
You never know when he goes off script.
It's a
true.
Tiamat.
It's Tiamat.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we all know what side my bread is buttered on. You know what I mean?
The five-headed dragon side.
Right, exactly. But Freely thinks a lawful good dragon's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Bahamut's dumb.
Lauren is a fan of Bahamut because Lauren likes lawful good dragons and dragons that do fun things. Orkira just thinks all dragons are self-centered, egotistical assholes. So, yeah.
Or Kara feels like Adab.
Orkira had some stories when she was growing up, and she's had some bad experiences with dragons, and she just thinks all of them are bad. So, I will just keep my feelings to myself at family reunions. That's fine.
Well, he was a little bit of an absentee father, but that's the thing, like this. I guess now that I'm famous, he's back in my life. That's weird.
So Divine Souls.
So one of the things about Freely being lucky comes from his Divine Soul background. You have an ability called Favored by the Gods, where once per session you can roll 2d4 and add it to the roll to affect it, which 2d4 is a pretty significant swing. If you fail a saving throw or miss with an attack, you can roll 2d4 and add it to it. So that's an aspect of his luck before he actually got the lucky feat. Divine Soul sorcerers also get access to healing magic. So if you ever want to play a sorcerer that is a healer, especially there's some pretty sick celestial warlock divine soul sorcerer builds that are still coffee locks that actually can be pretty effective.
Divine Soul Sorcerer is the go-to if your party really, really feels like they need a cleric, but no one actually feels like playing a cleric. Divine Soul is a really good battlefield healer who can still be, like B. Dave said, super effective in battle. And also, they don't have to be, because if I'm correct, Shaka is actually a Divine Soul Sorcerer. And it's because of who Shaka's patron was, and Shaka's history is super cool. Definitely watch Rivals of Waterdeep. But if you watch, say, Court of the Raven Queen, Shaka wasn't doing any healing. Shaka's all about let's do undead things and destroy things. He was just leaning into the background of what this offers. So yeah, it gives you those options. You eventually get to fly. But yeah, it is a good one to go with if you want access to healing and you don't want to. There's a lot of groups that say you're the healer or you're the cleric. You have to heal. That's all you can do. So there's a way that you can be a healer without being the healer.
Which is funny because to me, a Celestial Pack Warlock can heal better than a Life Cleric.
In some ways, it depends.
Yeah, in some ways,
Yeah, that, and just for the record, we talked about clerics for an entire episode recently. The clerics absolutely, are not heal bots. Orkira's a cleric that blew up lots of stuff. But also, you don't have to fill that role if you don't want to. And the most optimal healer is actually a Life Cleric 1 Lore Bard in terms of just pure healing output. So, there's a lot of ways to skin that cat, up to and including not skinning that cat at all.
Yeah.
I play, again, in the Gax pack, my character is a Divination Cleric, Grave Cleric, and mechanically, if a person drops to 0 hit points, a Grave Cleric's healing automatically, they heal the maximum that they can for that spell. So it's actually more efficient for me to let them get knocked out. So I made that a part of my character concept, that he's just a jerk. You know what I mean? Like, they're dying, and he's like, "You're fine, stop complaining." You know what I mean? They get knocked out, and it's like, full heal. See, I told you you'd make it. Today's not your day. But just made it a part of the character.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And a lot of the time, we use healing as kind of a blanket statement of getting hit points back. And in a lot of ways, there are a lot of classes that can do way more single bits of healing than any other class. Paladins, if you get to a high enough level and you're laying on hands, you can just you can do an ungodly amount of healing in just one action. But you have to remember that healing often can be a lesser restoration, remove curse, bringing people back from the dead, and Divine Soul does get a couple of those, like Bane and Bless and protection from evil and good and things like that. So it's always good to remember that it's not just how much HP can you affect, but can you do the other stuff too?
Correct.
It's true.
Yep.
And then after that, we have probably one of the more well-known origins, which is the Draconic Bloodline.
Yep. The thing
Just
everyone thinks
assuming here-
Orkira is.
You're related
Yeah,
to a Dargan.
Whoa, wait a second. Is that, aren't you though? I know it's awkward. I found out my dad's a dragon. Does that mean I am? No, I have more, I have several additional questions, Orkira, that if you're saying you don't have draconic blood, but you've got a sort of draconic everything, so I don't.
Oh yeah, no, I do, but everybody thinks because of the Cypriax wings that I'm one of these people, that I do because they get wings, and no, it has nothing to do with that. So,
You got juicy boy wings? That's where your wings came from?
Cypriax wings?
Yeah.
My entire
yeah,
life is a lie. You never told me that the Cypriax gave you those wings?
did we never go into that? Oh, no, that was, when I got bit, but it was a while ago. It was before I met you. But yeah, all the weird stuff about me, it's because Cypriax decided to do weird things. The dragony part, that's my history. I don't want to get into it. My grandmother had stories. A beer sucks.
Those are the best parts about you, for the record. The best parts? Yes. Okay,
Well, thank
sorry.
you.
Please proceed with the draconic blood. So,
But the reason everybody thinks Orkira is a draconic bloodline sorcerer is because she's got the wings. You get dragon wings at level 14. So even if you're not a dragonborn, if you would like to be a dragon and do dragon things and at least have the dragon wings, this is where you go.
Dragon.
Yeah, if you want some dragon with your dragon for extra dragon, which is fun.
Yo, dog, I would play a dragonborn draconic bloodline sorcerer and just be like,
what up?
Super dragon weeb.
Yeah. It's also
Casting Kamehameha waves everywhere.
it's also one of those ways that you can bring a little bit of some older versions into your 5th edition, because if you're Dragonborn, you get resistance to your Dragonborn ancestry type of damage. And then if you're a Draconic Bloodline, you can pick something else. And so you can start stacking what you're resistant to. Mm-hmm. And that reminds me of some of my more fun 4th edition builds of I'm just going to be resistant to everything. So yeah, you do get to just pick what kind of dragon did you have as an ancestor, and so what kind of damage type are you now resistant to? You get to speak, read, and write Draconic. When you interact with dragons, you get to get a little bit of a boost to interact with them. And then, a lot of it is you get some of the scales. So if you want to be an unarmored sorcerer, your AC goes up. Elemental affinity is super helpful for when you're dropping fireballs or anything else that has an elemental damage. You can spend some of those sorcery points and gain resistance to that damage type. So if you want to drop a fireball on yourself, 14th level, you get dragon wings. You just gain a flying speed equal to your current speed. And then I believe, they're a bonus action. Here's the fun thing. You can't manifest your wings while wearing armor unless the armor is made to accommodate them. And clothing not made to accommodate your wings might be destroyed when you manifest them. So all those people who are wondering why Orkira spent time worrying about the armor that she was wearing getting fitted to work with her wings, there's reasons.
Yeah.
Because the last thing anyone wants is to be like, poof, wings, wait, what happened to my armor? Or you're wearing heavy armor and you try to poof your wings and they just get stuck under your armor, and it's bad. And then at 18th level, you just get to kind of be a dragon. You get to be...
That's what I was noticing. I'm just like, this really is just the turn into a dragon class.
Mm-hmm. But it's super fun.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. Then just looking at the time, reminded that we're still gonna get to viewer questions. Remember, you can put in the chat question : and then a question for us, and we're gonna answer those at the end, or try to answer everyone's at the end. Next up, we got shadow magic, which is cool. What's up with shadow magic?
What isn't up with shadow magic? Again, it's. Y'all know me. We've been doing this for a while now. The first thing I look at for any of these things is the potential for multi-classing, but you of course don't have to do that, especially 5th edition very much rewards staying with one class and going all the way to the end and getting the capstone ability. Remember when I said the Aberrant Mind, you have all these like a sorceress origins table. The Shadow Sorcerer has quirks that you can have, things like your heart only beats once per minute. This event sometimes surprises you. You know, you barely bleed even when badly injured. You blinked once last week. You're just like,
My favorite thing
that's
about
it's Erin's Raven Queen impression. Insert Erin's Raven Queen impression right here.
Yeah.
Like, all she said was,
My favorite thing about your heart beats every once in a while, it could surprise you, is the idea it's like a hiccup. You know, you're just sitting around and you go, oh,
The hell was that?
so
this is my heart, sorry.
This is basically the energy of the Shadowfell, which is the Raven Queen's domain, manifesting through a mortal, and that is kind of the source of your power. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just like, okay, so at 14th level, does the cure just start playing around you ominously? No,
it
no,
starts playing way
Shadow
earlier
Walk.
than
Well,
that.
Shadow Walk, I mean, it's close.
So what's interesting is that one of the things you get at first level is an ability called Strength of the Grave, that if you should die, you come back to 1 hit point anyway. So if you were to make a half-orc Shadow Sorcerer, so let me take one step back. When we did Faster Purple Worm Kill for D&D Live last year, the whole premise is everybody was going to die, and I was like, I'm going to live. So I made I made a half-orc Shadow Sorcerer, because as a Shadow Sorcerer, when you drop to 0, you come back at 1. Half-orc, when you drop to 0, you come back at 1. There's just like whack-a-mole of me trying to get away. Spoiler alert, I did not get away, but...
When you described the ability, though, I don't know why in my head, I just saw the Undertaker sitting up out of the coffin.
Exactly. Oh my god! Oh my god! And then steel chair. Wow.
Yep.
No?
And then, then at 6th level, you get a puppy.
You get a puppy!
So would you like to be the darkest, most emo Shadow Sorcerer with a puppy?
You get a puppy. You get a Hound of Ill Omen.
Well, I mean, you know, we do know someone that has a Hound of Ill Omen. You know that, Orkara. That's Marmadark. This is Baloth.
Yeah.
Baloth is a Shadow Sorcerer. Friend of the Black Pits.
Yep.
You know, yeah. Purveyor of excellent action figures.
And eater of a lot of really, really evil squirrels.
He also slayer of Alabaster Booty Clap, which I was there for. So this, yeah, that's Baloth is a Shadow Sorcerer. We'd be remiss in not pointing that out.
Yep.
Yes.
And so yeah, he gets a puppy. And I
He
say
gets a
puppy, but it's a hound. And considering you can make depending on the kind of race you are, if you are, say, a halfling or a gnome, the hound is medium. You can ride your Hound of Ill Omen. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You can ride around on your puppy. And
Love that.
And yeah, I mean, it's just, I find it super fun because there's not a lot of other classes that get a companion animal outside of like very specific rangers and, sometimes wizards when they decide to have a familiar. So having puppy is super fun. And it's an effective creature. It's not... You know, a lot of the times,
My wife played Shadow Sorcerer, and she got to the point of using this, and it was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah. And the fact that because it does have that, I'm summoning it and I'm dismissing it, so it's not real, you don't necessarily have to be worried about it dying. You know, it's kind of like a familiar where if it dies, it just, it goes away and you can bring it back after a little while. So it takes some of the pressure off of both you and your DM, especially if people are a little weirded out by animals getting harmed or killed. There's like, well, but they just go take a break upstate at a farm.
He's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Upstate at a farm.
It goes to Grandpa's house. Yeah.
Jeez.
If Grandma's house, if Grandma is the Raven Queen and her house is the Shadowfell. Also, a particularly cool thing about the Hounds of Ill Omen is if you put it near the target, they have disadvantage against saves from your spells.
Yep. If anybody watched, anyone who watched the Champions of the Realms. There we go. Where Baloth, that's basically what he used his hound. He would stick the hound out there, and it would just harry whoever they were going after. And the hound wouldn't necessarily be able to effectively attack, but just being next to Baloth's target meant that Baloth's attacks were super effective. So that's why it's just an awesome creature to have.
Okay, so we got two more. I know we didn't get through all of the Shadow Sorcerer, but they do more shadowy things.
They're dark. They do shadow stuff.
Next up, we've got Storm Sorcerer.
Storm Sorcerer.
I'm going to assume they control storms.
So like plot twist, what if they're super anti-storm?
That'd be really great.
What if they're desert enthusiasts?
That would be like someone who hates Bahamut playing a character whose father is Bahamut.
I mean, a lot of storm sorcery is being able to stop storms. So maybe you are one of those storm sorcerers, just like, no rain, no, go away. Because you can just do that. So maybe your control over it is to make it go away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at 6th level, you do get Storm Guide. If it's raining, you can use an action to cause the rain to stop falling. So yeah, you can't actually just be like, you know what? We're not having a storm today.
Nope.
Gonna be good. And I gotta be honest, that's probably one of the most useful things I've seen in a class in a while, because there's been so many times where I've been in a fight and having a DM that's just like, it's raining, it's difficult terrain, you get disadvantage on this stuff, and then I just be like, no.
Yeah. And the windy part of that, being able to control the wind if it is windy, is really effective in battle for when you have things like fog cloud, or I don't remember the other clouds that can happen that are just like, here, you're in this poison cloud. There's a lot of those area of effect. You're now in a cloud that sucks. And then the wind comes along, it's like, no, I'm not anymore.
I do want to skip over most of the Storm Sorcerer, though, so that we can get to the Wild Magic Sorcerer, because I think this might be the most iconic one because of Wild Magic.
Yeah.
So what's up with the Wild Magic Sorcerer?
It's
we all just sigh.
not you. Every time you cast a spell, you roll a d20. If you get a 1 on that d20, Wild Magic goes off. It sounds fun. It's kind of not. When Tatiana, who is also available on Idle Champions, when Becca decided to level up Tatiana, she almost became a storm barbarian that basically has this happen. I forget the name of the actual subclass, but the storm tempest barbarian. That was Tempest cleric. Anyway,
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah,
the storm barbarian, or no, actually no, the wild magic barbarian. And she was like, "This seems fun," and I was like, "Absolutely not." You know what I mean? No, not for this game. Not when we're trying to have a serious moment, and then you're just like fireball, womp womp. I'm like, nah, not doing that. It definitely. You need a particular table in a particular game, and make sure everybody's okay with it, because to Lauren's point, or the joke is, there is a thing that you can roll where you cast fireball level 3 centered on yourself for a big chunk of the game. That could kill everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, okay, ha ha ha. Guess the campaign's done because I rolled poorly, and it's like,
This was the impetus for me to start creating my own Wild Magic table, because I had people in some of my games who wanted to play Wild Magic Sorcerer but did not want that happening, did not want to kill everybody just because of a bad roll. So I started creating my own to make them at least all useful in some way. And then that just turned into a big giant 100 table that I could roll on for charity games. But that's having a slightly different table if you do have somebody who wants to get into, because a lot of the other stuff that Wild Magic Sorcerers can do are a lot of fun. It just sucks when you roll that bad thing on the table. So
yeah.
But that's the thing that everybody thinks of. And yes, I have died to a Wild Magic Sorcerer who went fireball because we were second level and nobody has that many hit points. Yeah. But if you can get past that table, Tides of Chaos, you can gain advantage on a roll for yourself. Bend luck. I mean, this is kind of one of the other I want to be the lucky person, the subclasses. When another creature you see makes an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, you can use your reaction and spend 2 sorcery points to roll a d4 and apply the number as a bonus or a penalty. So like if you just want instant Bane or Bless. Controlled Chaos means you can roll twice on the Wild Magic Surge table and use either number, which if you now use an altered table that means that you're not always going to kill yourself can be a lot of fun. And then you get to add stuff to your damage. Like it really can lean into the I am not in control of my magic all of the time and it's unpredictable.
Yeah. What I'll also say is not every character starts at level 1, and at level 14 you get a thing called Controlled Chaos where you can roll twice and pick either number. So maybe if you start a higher level game or a one-shot or something, it's a little more controllable. I mean, again, to some people the randomness is the thrill. I'm just saying you need to make sure everyone at the table thinks that randomness is thrilling.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I will say though, in lore wise, I do really love the fact that Delina is essentially her wild magic was what caused Minsk to become unpetrified from the statue, and then he was just like, "Oh, evil!" So I like wild magic just because it brought Minsk back.
And the standard table does have a lot of fun stuff, like the flumps that appear. You can get a unicorn that just appears, who's controlled by the DM, which is always fun.
I love your skin turns a vibrant shade of blue. A remove curse spell will end this effect. I love that.
Yeah. Yep. You're like, nope, it's a feature now, not a bug. Legally distinct.
Legally distinct.
That's all you get to do.
Yep. No, and cast a magic missile at 5th level, all that fun stuff. Yeah, you cast polymorph on yourself. If you fail the saving throw, you turn into a sheep for the spell's duration. Because
Yeah. And while a lot of the things that we've been talking about have been specific to being in combat, you have to roll on this table whenever you cast a spell. So if you're out of combat and you roll something or you cast something for narrative reasons or, for other reasons, and you roll on this table, this can turn non-combat into combat very quickly if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's check in with the viewers and see what chat has been up to. We're gonna start this off with Ateus. I'm gonna go with that.
Ateus.
Rock me Ateus. Question: since every subclass for sorcerer could be a subclass for warlock, which one would you actually switch over?
Interesting.
I actually think I would do the clockwork one personally, because I actually kind of like the idea of the warlock being. Is there a clockwork warlock? Is that one of them?
No.
Yeah, I think a warlock be like just making a pact with Modrons and having the tie to Primus and stuff like that, I think would be pretty cool.
I do some sort of evil dragon pact.
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
Like, get that Tiamat patronage in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you just want to pull over the whole draconic bloodline, that gives warlocks another. I can have a patron who isn't necessarily evil or aberrant or far realms. For people who want to play warlocks but don't want to go the dark and scary route. So that could be fun. I mean, a variety.
I know.
No.
I played a Celestial Pack warlock who was a bookworm. Like I played a good warlock.
Yeah.
Let's see. Or did you have one? Or was it the draconic one as well, Lauren?
Yeah. Oh, right. Sorry.
Yeah, I think one of those two would be a lot of fun. I think the only other thing that could be fun with the storm sorcery, if you wanted to get into, and I might have a little bit of experience in this, some of the elementals. If you wanted to get your power from some elementals and really lean into like the Tempest as your patron, storm sorcery could work really well.
Yeah.
I could see a world where Umberly did it, because as we discuss, and I know Erin always gets mad at me, but it is the letter of the law and debatably the spirit of the law that you can be a cleric or a warlock of the same deity.
Yep.
Where you're just like, Umberly, I don't worship you because you're literally the sea bitch, but I'll kill a lot of people. I'll drown a lot of people for you. And Umberly's like, dope. take the rain to the land and wreak havoc.
That'd be
what I mean?
cool.
Wash them all into the sea, child.
Yeah.
I think that's the beautiful part of the cleric, warlock, and you can say sorcerer in there. It's like, what is the relationship you want to have with the source of your power? Do you want to have the direct cleric relationship, which might be a pleasant one? Do you want to have the slightly more indirect warlock one in where it might be more antagonistic? Or do you want the sorcerer one in where, well, my great-great-great-grandfather just hung out with some Afrits for a while and now I got fire powers? You know, it just gives you that narrative path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hin Krakos says, question, if you had to choose between good dragons or bad dragons, which one is it?
Neither. They're all nasty. They're all self-centered. I mean, I hung out with a bunch of good dragons, who I said, hey, if you just give me some diamonds, I can bring your dead companions back to life. And they went, let me get back to you. So yeah, none of them.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, Tiamat and some of her friends gave us a little bit of a headache, you know, but Penelope and her seem to have like a meaningful connection, right? So,
but Penelope has a meaningful connection with everybody.
Oh yeah, you can't really grade on that curve, huh? Like she just sort of like wrecks it. That's true for the most part. Well, again, as I mentioned, Dad showed up, you know, relatively late in my life. So besides that, I can't say I've had a lot of positive dragon interactions. So there's that.
I technically have.
Wait a second, or Kira, does that mean if he's like the father of dragons, does that mean all these dragons have been like my cousins the entire time?
Sounds right to me.
It kind of depends. I mean,
man, I'm really sorry, Aunt Tiamat. I've rolled up a lot of your kids.
You might need some family therapy.
Okay. Welcome to my ancestry.
The lurking writer says, question, so when can we have Garlock and Idol champions? We need more sorcerers. That's not my call. I appreciate that. It's not my call. Keep telling them you want them. I don't know.
It's always good to recommend. If you've got, I'll give the more on-stream answer for our wonderful community manager. Hey, if you've got a champion or a character somewhere who's playing in a game that you love, you're a fan of, let us know. We're always looking for people to add to the game. So we won't always take your suggestions, but we're always happy to listen.
There we go. Let's see. This is from G Nemesis 13. Would Aberrant get skeletal dragon wings if he went that way? Sure.
I mean, Aberrant keeps finding ways to get extra bits and bobs added to him, so you know it's.
Aberrant is kind of like toys in the 90s where there's just a new version of him every month that's got like the cool new thing. Like now he's a skeleton, now he's on fire, now there's a tree growing out of him.
Has way too many knuckles was the last time I saw him. That was the thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, don't like that. Let's see. Hidden Krakah comes back and says, question, follow up to Trevor's comment about the Cure. What would the band for every sorcerer type or single song be?
Well, we don't have enough time.
We don't got enough time for that one. That's a good one, though.
We also don't have enough songs to be able to sing and not get DMCA'd. So.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna rebuild that one. If we ever do another Q&A one where we go back through them, I might grab that one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jamek Unyielding question. I've built a paladin-based slasher villain before, but what might a sorcerer-based horror monster look like?
Oh, that's your shadow magic.
Yeah.
That's your shadow magic.
Also, the Aberrant Mind. That's the Mind Flayers and all that stuff. Any Far Realm stuff is all Aberrant Mind.
You could also go Draconic and make the transformation more visceral and whatnot of like claws coming out of their fingers and stuff.
More veins.
Yeah, more veins.
And this might be because I'm misunderstanding the question, because I was thinking, hey, what subclass would you go for if you want to inflict horror on someone else and use those powers? I was fooling around for a while with a druid build that basically used horror movie tropes in order to scare people out of their forest.
Oh, I love it.
Because if you go with all of the stuff that controls
they're a whole
nature,
Scooby-Doo villain.
Exactly. And storm sorcery gets into that too. So if you want to use your storm sorcery to be like, and suddenly there is, a dark and stormy night happening, that could be a lot of fun.
I like that. Let's see. The Lurking Writer question: can a Storm Sorcerer affect atmospheric pressure? If so, they win every time. I don't think they can.
That's an interesting question, though. That'd be one of those moments as a DM and where I'd need to know what you want to do, and I might try to yes and you just because it's funny.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these things, pending how far into the minutia you go, things can get out of hand quickly. Like people say, what is it? Is it druid thaumaturgy can heat or cool water?
Yeah.
Where people are like, well, then I'll heat up their brain and call them to have an aneurysm and die. I'm like, no, you won't, man.
Yeah,
No, you won't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, I get you. 120-degree fever, a mammal would collapse. That's true. But no. You know, like that's.
Yeah, we're all for creative
that's when I
responses
go
to problems, but
That's when I'm like, you need a line of sight for that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that is a good place to start wrapping things up. Chat, thank you so much for asking your questions. Friends, where can people find you and what awesome things you're working on?
Okay, all right.
I realized we didn't go over who's going first. I'm just going to see who talks first.
All right, I guess I will, because I am in the Erin M. Evans box, even though I am just a stand-in for the wonderful Erin M. Evans. But you can find me here doing a lot of stuff in front and behind the camera and doing all of the written things that you see. If you're looking for other things that I'm doing on Tuesdays, I am on the Demi-Plane Twitch channel playing Children of Erte. We just had our game last night, and I got to turn into a pangolin, and it's the best.
Yeah.
You can also find me on Fridays DMing a show called Radiant Stories, where we are playing through some of Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel, and it includes people who are players who have worked on the book. So if you would like to watch people being able to geek out as they play in their own settings, come join us on Fridays at 4 p.m. Pacific on the Be Neverending channel.
Yeah.
B. Dave Walters to say words about things. Tonight, Legends of the Multiverse at 5. Tomorrow night, Black Dice Society at 4 with a very special guest, which I probably should say, but I didn't ask if it was all right to say, so I'm not gonna say. But we got a very special guest coming for the Black Dice Society tomorrow. Also, next week, Black Dice Society live at Gen Con. Come see us in person.
Ooh. Well, Lauren, thank you so much for joining us this week, and you're going to be joining us next week.
Yeah, you can't get rid of me yet.
Very much appreciate having you on and giving your insight on Sorcerers.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at the Treavor. There's an A hiding in there, and you can also find me anywhere the Isle Champions community is, because I'm the community manager. That's where I'll be. Let's see. Thank you so much to Jordan for moderating the chat today and doing a fantastic job, and Lauren for being here and producing. And also to Codename Entertainment for let's have some fun and talk about some D&D. If you missed any part of the show, you can catch it later as a podcast on your favorite podcast service. Remember, you can rate us on there as well.
I mean, but the other stars are broken. It only works on the 5-star.
True. Don't even try the other ones. It'll break your phone.
Yeah. You'll get hack sword.
Yes. Later today, we have Mars's Guiding Hand and the Sketching Hour coming up, and I believe most of the rest of the week is pretty normal, but you can always check our Twitter, Discord, and Reddit for our Twitch schedules to be sure. But that's going to do it for this week's episode, so until next week, Champions out.